Hello, everybody. This is Arti Solanki, your host, a business coach, and a real estate broker. Welcome to our podcast, the Global Desi Women. And I'm excited to introduce my co hosts for today are going to be Bhavana Shelley. Bhavana, say hi.
Hello, everyone.
And I have Vinoo Palicha
Hi.
and Sanchi Palicha. We have a new guest
Hello.
today. So, Saji, since you were the first time on our podcast, let's introduce yourself, let people know who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, cool. So yeah, my name is Sanchi. I am actually the daughter of Miss Vinoo Palicha over here.
Mm.
Um, I'm from Houston, recently moved to New York City. Um, I am recently married as well, about less than a year. My background is in supply chain and I love to dance. I love fashion and all things beauty. So
Yeah.
excited to be here.
And just to let our audience know that she is a great content creator. I love her TikToks and I love her Instagram. So if you are not
Thank you.
following her, then go ahead and do that.
Yes.
Today's topic is very interesting, and I'm sure you girls have a lot to talk about, which is gender roles. I mean, I can think of so many things, starting from as Indian, when you think about Indian men, like starting from getting served and getting each and everything at the tables. Everything is
Mhm.
everything is like gifted into their hand, like, I need salt, I need water, I need this, I
Yep.
can I have tea, can I have breakfast? So I can start and go on and on and on.
Yeah, on and yes, yes.
Mhm.
But I mean, historically, um it was defined that the responsibilities between the men and the women, especially in the Indian household, focusing on the expectations of men as providers and women as homemakers. But I think that's changing, and things are
Mhm.
in a good way. It's really changing because now women are more of career oriented, and
Mhm.
we want to be independent, we are empowered, we are strong. I mean, being that said, we still take care of our home. So
Yes.
it's not like those kitchen utensils are put away.
Yeah.
Yep. True.
Yeah. So let's start with the younger generation today and see what her thoughts are. How do you see as gender roles? How do you see in today's day and age?
Yeah, I think what you said is really on point. I think it might be a little different from y'all's generation. There's obviously a lot that has spilled into our generation when it comes to men and them kind of having everything handed to them when it comes to household things, in the kitchen especially.
Hmm.
Um, I think our generation, though, is trying to be better about that, where it's more equal when it comes to household chores. I think in the kitchen, naturally, the woman is just doing more. Um, but in terms of like being the sole provider, women are definitely like a lot, we're just very ambitious, like very driven, and we don't want them to just be the sole provider. If anything, we want it to be equal always. And I think in my relationship especially, we try to keep it 50-50. Obviously, I wouldn't say it is 50-50 when it comes to household things, but we kind of work towards that, and I try to really work towards that because it's we kind of have to pave the path for future generations.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Bauna?
Well, they say that, back in the days, of course, the women used to be in the kitchen and the men would be outside yelling
Hmm.
at, hey, bring this, bring that, or
Hmm.
whatever. These days, the things have changed. Even those older generation men have learned that we do so much. We're working, we're also outside of the house, the same time they're being outside of the house. And then when we come back, it is very important to work together. And people have changed. They have learned to help out, maybe do some dishes here and there, or not so much cooking, because cooking is not everybody's forte, right? All
Mhm.
men can't cook, and only some that can cook, but there are some that can help out afterwards, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that goes on after cooking. Cooking is maybe something that women can do, but the cleaning, they can certainly help out. And they say that a couple who work together in the kitchen tend to have be more solid in their relationship. They develop more respect for each other and more love, and it also can be romantic time
And
to
also
time.
can be
Yeah.
challenging because for especially like when Animesh does the dishes and I do the dishes, we always have an argument because it's like the way he arranges it, I don't like it, and
Oh
where
my
I
gosh,
do
yeah.
it, he doesn't like it. So hey,
Yep, that
that's our
happens.
that's our time of having that kind of
Yeah.
conversation.
And you work with it, right? Every time I put in dishes in the dishwasher, and if Rajesh seems to see it, like, who did this? And he's going to take all everything out, and then he'll rearrange it. Okay,
Mhm.
you know do it how you want it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you
Yeah.
just got to
That's
work with
funny
it.
you say that because I feel like I do that with my husband. Like he puts the cups on the bottom rack, and I'm like, you don't do that. You put it on the top rack. And I feel like when I was younger, mom used to tell me how to rearrange it. And now I feel like I'm having to teach him how to rearrange the dishwasher.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
no, it's just how it is.
Yep.
It
And
just work with it.
Yeah.
yep, just let, whatever you get. It's the same way, like we probably would do something that they don't like,
Yeah.
and we are not doing it their way. And if they're
Yeah.
accepting it, then we do the exact same. And to add to all of this, I'm going to say the same thing, that before us, the generations before, it was a very clear cut style of living, way of living. Like
yeah,
the husbands were making the money and the wives were taking care of the house.
yeah,
So, which is why they did everything as far as, kitchen or cleaning or the kids and all that. And the husbands
Hmm.
took care of the financial aspect.
yeah. It
But
was more
times
like
have
a
changed.
alpha kind of
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the men,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah. We've come a
uh,
long way from that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I feel like still Indian some I mean, I've seen a few where they still have that in their mind, like, oh yeah, I can't do this, because I'm a girl, or I can't do this.
Yeah.
Let the guys do this. And like I've seen those
Yes.
too. And I feel like, nah, I think you
No,
can do it.
you can do it. You can do it. It's not just the kitchen. It's a lot of other things
Lot
too.
of things.
So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
absolutely. And sometimes even culture comes in the way when it comes to the gender role, because a lot of
yes,
times there might be older parents staying with you, and then it's a little
hmm,
different because then you have to portray it as like the whole, the picture of like the man being in the house, and then there's his
Hmm.
parents, and then the
yeah,
women, and it's more like, okay, you're supposed to take care of the household. Well,
mm,
even though if you're working, it's still expected for
yes,
you to do
yes,
everything, and
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that part, I feel like it's still there a little bit, not
I think so
as
too.
much as it used to be, but it's still there. Yeah.
I feel that's also there because it's very natural for a woman to just take care of certain things. It just comes very, like, it comes naturally, right? For a woman to come in the house and see that, oh, I need to put this aside or move this or clean up.
Things are out of
For
place. Yeah.
Yeah, for guys, it's like they probably don't notice these things, or it just, like I said, it doesn't come naturally to them. There are always exceptions, and there are other things. I mean, we don't really have to always um, end up talking about the kitchen and the cleanliness, but I
Yeah.
guess Yeah,
Yeah.
if you go to see, that's it's just a natural way of doing things for
I
women.
think, yeah, and I think a lot of part of it, not a lot, but part of it is also, especially when it comes to Indian men, and I don't know if you guys can agree to this, but they're a lot of them are mama's boys. And
Yeah.
so growing up,
Oh,
it's
we
very
do
clear.
agree
Yes.
to that.
Yeah.
Yes, we do it too.
We
Yep.
do agree to that.
Yep.
That
and
is,
and to that point, when the families live together with their the couple lives with their parents and stuff, what happens, the mama's boys, right, the mother would not allow their son to work where their
Yeah.
wives are
Yeah.
still working, but it's something that a generation where, why should my son work, you're supposed to do everything with, and not help out, and that kind of mindset is also there in certain places. And even if the men help out certain time, some Indian chinks comes out, like here and there. Certain things are
Hmm.
still there, like they're
yeah,
sitting down for dinner. How many times women gets up from the dining table
Yes.
and
Yeah.
gets things, right? While men, they have a tendency of just sitting down, eat their dinner, and then and that's normal. That's probably that's very normal for our Indian families. I think
Yes.
Yeah.
maybe not normal for others, but for our Indian families, that is like always there.
yeah,
Every time women gets up, if something needed, and then they get it.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
And
And I think,
also, sorry, go ahead, Sanchi.
no, I was just going to add to that. Like, I think people like in my generation, we've seen that growing up. And I think that's why we kind of are trying to make more effort to just kind of change it and make it more
Yeah.
equal.
Yeah. And also, the thing is that, and I see this change between our generation and the newer generation is that if if I have to step out or if I know that I have a meeting and I'm gonna be gone for the evening or for lunchtime, then I make sure that, oh, I have cooked lunch for them, or I've cooked dinner for them, or at least I have something made,
Hmm.
or I have a plan for them, or even if he's going to eat out, I'll be like, okay, there is nothing home, so you'll have to eat out. I have to specifically, it becomes like our chore or our responsibility to tell them how they're gonna be get fed for that time.
Yeah.
But the newer generation, I think they're like, okay, I have a meeting, bye. But it's like,
Yeah.
okay, the guy just solves out his own dinner or lunch or
Yeah.
whatever. If he's hungry, he knows that he's gonna go and find food and eat.
Yeah.
But our generation is so different, and I think the ladies would agree to me that we just constantly
Very
bring
much
about the.
so. Yes. 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 For sure. For sure.
I remember when I went to India for 10 days and I had to ask Natasha to take care of Animesh because I was like, he can't cook. He's not going to go eat out every day. And poor thing, my baby, she was like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted because I have to cook every day. But I mean, we find backups if we,
Yeah.
just to make sure that our husbands are fed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, but I think, Sachi, I would say you would agree to me that you guys have taken that taken out of their system. Where,
Yeah, just like not to be fully dependent on certain things. I mean, it goes both ways, obviously, but
It goes.
I think
Yes. Yes.
naturally when it comes to the food, it's like kind of falls on the woman a lot of times when, you know,
It's
yeah,
it it's also like a cultural thing, actually. It's just the way we've been raised. We've always
yeah,
taught to have that motherly instinct of taking care of
yeah,
the family and making sure that
yeah,
everybody's fed and everything is clean and everything is in order.
yeah.
So
It's our
yeah.
nurturing, just our nature that we,
mm-hmm,
and I think that falls with every woman. Doesn't matter whether they're Indian or not Indian. It
Hmm.
just naturally comes to us when it comes to taking care of somebody. We
yeah,
kind of like that, I guess, in some other crazy ways. Although we get exhausted, we get tired, we
Yeah.
get stressed, but we still like that.
still
Yeah.
like Even though
Yeah.
we're tired and somebody says, "Oh, can you make me this? I'm hungry."
That's it.
Every women
Yeah.
will get up and
Yes.
they'll make it. They'll make it
Yep.
for their loved ones, and that's how it is. And then
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And genetically, it helps women because we are capable of multitasking.
Yes.
Men are very bad at that. Only only few men
I don't
can
know. I don't
can.
know what our men listeners would say about that, but
No, that's the
maybe
truth.
we should have maybe we should have had one guy over here in the
One guy over
panel.
here, right? Because scientifically, I think women's brains are zzz,
Yeah.
whereas
Yeah.
men just looked at one thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
So for us to when you say that we come home and things are out of place, we can see it. Why we can see it is
Yeah.
because our mind goes that
We
way,
are
and
wired differently.
we are wired differently,
yeah,
and that's why we can take care of it as well. It's
Yep.
that's what makes us the women with super women who's got with their two hands, everything is
Yep.
taken care of.
yeah, yeah. So besides, obviously, besides our household and kitchen stuff, when it comes to career, what are your thoughts on that? Because even with being Indian women, and when it comes to our careers, a lot of times we've seen that it's given more of a priority to the guys' careers and then our
Mhm.
careers, because we have to when we're starting our families, especially, like we're like, okay, now I'm gonna have a kid. Okay, then you drop your job, stay at home, take care of the
Yeah.
kid, and then I'll just. And I feel like it's more of a cultural thing than it's more of how do I say this? I mean, the guy could also drop his job
Yeah.
and
Be
take
a
care of the
stay-at-home
baby. You
dad.
raise,
Yeah.
yeah, stay at home dad. He can be do that, but we rarely see that in Indian community. Rarely,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
rarely.
speaking of it personally, like if it came to me, I think yeah, I would prefer being home and raising the kids when they were young.
Yeah,
I just like I always felt blessed that I could do that because yeah,
yeah.
when and especially when you compare, if it also boils down to who has a better job in some situations.
Hmm.
If the
Yeah.
woman can continue working, and if the wife can continue working, and if the husband is able to stay home and be a stay-at-home dad, then yeah, fine. But I think in most cases it just ends up being a woman again because of the natural instincts that mothers always take better care of their kids. Again,
But it
there are
Mhm.
also, I
exceptions.
think it's also because it's like, oh, like it's not considered very nice, I would say, like as an Indian, like, oh, the father is staying home. Oh, and the mother is going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's seen as a very, it doesn't matter how much of a, how well you're doing in your
To
job
them in your
or
career,
in
yeah.
your business or whatever. I think it still would be seen as like, oh, so she's gonna work and you're gonna raise a kid. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think I've come across, at least
Any
not
stay
that
at
I
home.
know of, yeah,
Mm.
any
Yeah.
stay at
Also, I
home
feel like
dad.
men just have a lot of men have large egos, so when it comes to that, they
Yep.
typically choose to just
So yeah,
continue
yeah,
working.
Yeah.
and and with the career, actually, there are a lot of inequalities, not just in the family
yes.
environment, even outside. When you're trying to go get ahead of men, there are issues, and that
Yeah.
is, women are paid less naturally. That's another reason why it selected that, okay, you're not getting paid that much, so it's okay for you to stay home, right? But even if the woman is capable of making good money, a lot of time the society doesn't see it as
Mm.
valued.
Mm.
That's another reason why women can't do too much with their careers. But if you stay persistent and do it, I think women is capable of handling the job at the same time taking care of their families
Absolutely.
equally.
100%.
They both work together to raise their families. I think they can do it. And these days, the younger generation, they have much easier than what we
Mhm.
had. But
Yep.
one thing we had advantage of was our the kids' grandparents took care of the kids, so that's also took part as a good
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
But career wise, women can do whatever they want to do, and they're much more capable of doing things.
Hmm.
And I think they should follow their career and go for it. I mean, I know my kids were little. I used to travel a lot. It was hard, it was difficult, but I loved what I did. So
Hmm.
I did not want it to quit, and I continued. I did well. I mean, it maybe not as good as I did. Also, had to when kids really needed me. Then I said, okay, I'm gonna go part time, or I'm gonna stay home and spend some more time with them. But I didn't quit my job, which I
Mhm.
didn't. Ultimately, I did not want it to, and I was able to do that. It's just there are problems when they're really really little and you want to be with them and you have to travel. It hurts,
Yes.
Yeah.
but at the same time, you kind of like wanted to balance it, and that's what kind of comes down to.
Yeah.
But
And I think as
career is very important.
working, yeah, and as a working, partners, if you both are working, then obviously you got when you have a child, you have to take turns, or like because
Mhm.
not one person just being a woman, that doesn't mean that the employer is gonna just let you go home every day that the kid's sick,
Yeah.
that something happens. So you both, have to take turns and take care of the babies and stuff. So that is you have to do that. There's no other way of doing it,
Right. And then in our Indian culture, it's like, if the man stays home, then it's looked down upon or frowned upon. And there's a saying also, oh, who wears the pants in your house? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yep. Yep.
it looks down upon, and but it it is a difficult decision for
Yeah.
career versus family,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
some choose whatever they choose. I think there's nothing right or wrong. It's always based on their situations.
Yeah.
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 That
Very
is
true.
that is very true. And when it comes to making like decisions, any decisions in the family, like uh financially, or even like simple as gifting somebody. Like olden times, it used to be just the men deciding, like, okay,
Mhm.
like, yeah, the final say, even though the women would decide, but it would like it wouldn't be like a direct like coming out of her, like she made the decision. It'll be like a U-turn. She would be like, okay, so can we do this, and what do you think about that? And then he would
Like
be
you're
like,
seeking
yes,
approval.
okay, yeah, yeah. The final approval is men, but I think that is also changing now. It's more of like making decisions together.
Together. Yes.
And
Yes.
even for us, I think even our generation
Yeah. Yeah.
is where,
I think we've gotten better. Yeah. We
yeah.
Yeah,
discuss things before you decide. It's
Yeah.
not a one person decision. Yeah.
right. And
Mm.
it's
Yep.
it's not necessarily when you ask someone or when you say it. It's good to be on the same page for everything, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
When
absolutely.
you're talking or when you're making certain decisions, it's not that you're seeking somebody's permission per se, but you want to talk it out and you want to make sure that
Yeah.
both the husband and wife or whoever partners are there on the same page.
Right.
It it's
Exactly.
Yeah.
it's funny. This reminds me of like in olden times they used to say, "Yeah, when a puchine go, like I'll
Yeah,
ask
no.
him and I'll tell you."
Yeah. I mean, I think it's only fair. Like both people should have a say. Both people
Yes.
have their own thoughts, opinions, and so it shouldn't just be like one final decision maker.
Yeah. And even if in case where sometimes you have to make certain calls on your own, it's
Hmm.
okay. I mean, like it doesn't have to be every little thing that you have to discuss and do it. Yeah, major stuff,
Right.
of course. But
Hmm.
certain times there are things that okay, you feel like okay, I'm going to do this, and even for my business, I would be like, 99% of the time we talk about it, whatever I'm going to do or what I'm not going to do and everything. But then sometimes if I feel something is good and something is going to work for my business, and I do make those decisions on my
Yeah,
own.
definitely.
Because the thing is that I know how the business works for me, and I know how it is. It's gonna help if I made certain decisions. So, and I mean, it helps because as he's also a business owner, we both share our ideas and inputs. But there are times when we have to decide on our own. So,
Hmm.
which is good. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Yeah, it has. We have definitely come a long way from how we started. Even, I mean, seeing our parents and grandparents do things a certain way, and then moving to the U.S. and then how we changed with the lifestyle here, with the times, with the kids and everything. So yeah, I guess we've seen both sides.
Yeah. And the biggest thing is that I think we have grown in
Hmm.
a way, even in India now, the mentality of having, oh, the boy is you know, that's the greatest thing on the earth. That mentality is
It has
fading,
changed.
and yeah,
Yes.
it's shifting now, and they're really appreciating girls, like they're now changing, and they know that hey, it doesn't matter whether you have a girl or a boy, and they're both equal, and it's
Because all women there in India are, they want to have a career, they want to study, they want to work, and they want to make a good life for themselves. Whether, I mean, they don't want to just get married and depend on the husband. They are doing it for
And start a
themselves.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And now I think we have seen where even in India, like the rural parts of it, they're getting educated about it, and I
Yes.
think a lot of things have changed. Not still, there's a lot to be done. There's a lot
Mhm.
of places where there is still, they don't understand that women, the importance of it, or if
Yeah.
they have a girl, they don't like it, and all these things going on. But things are changing slowly but steadily. They're
Yeah.
changing
I think
mentality.
there's been a lot of growth, I think, since then, like since back in the day. And I think back then it was family was kind of the focus, starting a family together, but now a lot of it is shifting to building a career first. And
Mm,
that's kind
Yes.
of the forefront
yeah,
Yes.
for a lot of
yeah.
people.
Especially carrying the name of the family, and that's where it's like you
Yeah.
have to have a boy. He's the one gonna carry the
Yeah.
name. So that was like the biggest thing, like that okay, who's gonna carry the name? So
Yeah.
And with the boys, there were a lot of expectations out of the boys, and
yeah,
that's
that's
what it
true.
was. Who's going to take care of us
Hmm.
when we
Yes.
we turn old? And then that's where that fantasy of, oh, we have to have a boy in the family who's going to take care of us, right? These days that expectation is gone.
Yeah,
It's, you make your own fortune, and you make your
Yeah.
own destiny, and the kids does their own things, and they'll make their own life. You make sure you're good. And that's one thing, that relying on kids back in India is also fading away a little bit, to
Yeah.
a certain extent. People cannot expect things out of their kids anymore. It's just not that they're not going to do. They're good kids. They're well done. It's the expectation piece that needs to get out of it. It
Yeah.
Then people will be happy, and they won't need boy in the family if that expectation is out.
yeah, I guess so. And I mean, like, It's also because in India we all live together. We have a joint family, and obviously because the housing market is so crazy high priced that even the newer generation is hard for them to own their own property,
Yes.
and they all living together. So I guess that being that said, it's whether they want or not want to take care of the parents, they have to. There is no other
Yeah.
option for them.
And that's changing too, right? There are a lot of now less joint families even in
Yeah,
India.
yeah.
Then same thing like here. There's no more joint families. When we all came, it used to be a big thing with joint
Mhm.
families, and it does save a lot of money for both the
Yeah,
parents
Yes.
and the kids. And it works.
yeah,
It but it works if you have a good understanding. Then it will work well.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's better to have separate families.
yeah.
Than
You don't want to have the stress and pressure and every day's new drama.
and who's gonna get blamed?
Oh
Women.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah,
always women who gets blamed when something happens in the family. So that's another gender inequality where people, always tend to blame on women.
yeah. It is so true. It is so true. So Sachi, who makes the coffee in the morning? You or they?
Well, I think because I don't really drink coffee, I'm
Oh,
not a big coffee person, he has to do it. And I told him, I was like, don't expect me to do it.
good
So
job.
that's his department. So I let him do that.
Good, good. Yeah, for me, it's like Animesh makes the tea every day. I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
I I usually don't get out of the bed until the tea's ready.
Good for you.
You.
Yeah, sometimes I'll yell from the bed, "Is the tea ready?" Then I'll get up.
Ours is a little different. We wake up together. We make I'll make tea and he'll clean up whatever, and then we'll drink tea together. So
No, I
you know,
mean we'll have
it's a
tea together,
little
but
little different.
yeah, I'll drink tea together, but he'll make it. And although me complaining every day, oh, today there's not enough ginger in the tea, there's not enough this in the tea. I complain every single day about his tea. One day he'll make a perfect tea for me, but we'll see when
But you
that.
still have him make it, even though it's not perfect.
Oh yeah, because that's the only thing he makes. He doesn't know anything else in the kitchen, so I do not want to let that go. I
Yeah.
take even though with my complaints, he has to make that. One day, like I said, he'll make it perfect tea for me, but but he'll have to make it. But so what other chores that you and Dave have really
Um,
kind of have the understanding of?
yeah. So
I know Dave
he
cooks though.
like okay, his one dish that he's mastered is like a veggie burger.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
every
Hey.
time I'm like, oh, I'm tired, I don't feel like cooking, he'll do it. In times like that, I do more of the cooking, but when it comes to cooking in general, he's my little like helper in the kitchen. So he'll chop my veggies, he'll do like I just basically have to tell him, okay, do this, stir this, add salt
Well,
to this.
there's
That's
your
kind of
50-50.
his yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of his contribution.
Mhm.
But we both hate dishes, so that's always a battle. Um, but then when it comes to things like trash, he's the trash man. So he takes out the trash every time. He does things like that. He cleans the bathroom. So there's like some things that
Yeah.
are designated for him, and then
Yeah.
some things that I cover.
And that's a good way of doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
like Animesh does the dishes in the evening.
Hmm.
Daytime I'll do it. Um, and then he'll do the laundry. I'll put up the clothes, but he'll do the
Okay.
laundry. Yeah. And I guess that's about the cooking
Yeah.
part. Obviously, he
Kind
can't
of have
cook.
to like assign different things.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just as and when whatever's needed, you just take care of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't do
Yeah.
the laundry at all. As a needed, he can see it when it's needed and he
Well,
can see
laundry's
it
like
when it's done.
yeah. laundry's doable, I think. In my case, though, it's the biggest pain because he'll do the laundry, but then he won't put it up right away.
Yeah.
So then
So
you
then
need to
it's
do
like,
that. So that's 50-50 right there.
I guess, but then he gets
Ah.
confused. Is this clean? Is this dirty?
Yeah. Yeah. I put it up. He'll do the laundry, but I'll put it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that to just my clothes. He does his clothes. I don't. Because it's like he needs it certain way, his clothes,
Yeah.
and I need it in a certain way. So we both like, no, do
Hmm.
your own. We're like, nope, that's not gonna happen. Do your own thing. So but I wish he could all cook sometimes, which
Ah, yeah.
which he can't. It's like not even rice, not even plain rice. Oh gosh, is this like a complaining about husband kind of a show?
This is a venting
It
session.
kind of is going in
It's
that
it's
direction.
it's yeah, it sounds like that. I hope when he listens to it, he's gonna be like, okay, I'm not gonna do it anymore.
That's it. There goes your laundry person.
Forget the laundry. There goes my tea.
Yeah, just hold
Your
on to
tea
the
as
tea
well.
still.
No, but that's I think this is what it is, right? When it comes to gender roles, it's so much different than I think Indian men and women are so much different than the other communities is because we have our culture comes in our way. We've been
Yeah,
like we so much culturally
we've been raised
um
that way. Yeah,
yeah, we've been
Mm,
raised that way. We've seen our parents that way. We've seen our like our moms serving them
yeah,
and taking
yeah.
care of the kids and this and that and everything has been taken care of by women. So we've always seen that. And so changing that, shifting that from a newer looking at it a newer perspective, like we're equal, we both have to do everything together. It takes time, and it takes I think a lot of compromise, not just on as for the women but also for the men, because they'll also have to learn to compromise and work together.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. I think even for this generation, like Sanchi, Ria, Natasha, and all the other kids, um, as long as like it doesn't have to be specific things the wife has to do and specific things the husband has to do. It's like I came across a reel which was so good where somebody was talking about, it's not always 50-50. It can
mhm.
be anything. It can sometimes be 60-40. It can sometimes be 70-30. It just depends on what that day,
Hmm.
what each person needs to do.
Hmm.
So it's a balancing act, and I guess if it is followed in every aspect of life, it makes things easier. It doesn't always work like that, but
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
we try, then we can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the thing, right? Like Sachi said that sometimes she doesn't feel like cooking, and then he'll cook and he'll help. And that's the thing, even for us,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Now it's like if I don't feel like cooking, or if I'm tired, I had a busy schedule,
Hmm.
we just okay, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I mean, he can't cook, so we end up eating out, but that's what we
Yeah.
have to do, then that's what we have to do.
Yep.
Because he
Yeah.
won't eat a sandwich at night, so we have to have a hot meal at night. So, but that's what it is. So, any word of wisdom, Sachi, on this topic that you'd like to share with the young,
Um,
as far as the younger generation, what would you like to say to the younger generation that is listening and
yeah. I think just communication is the biggest thing, like being very open and communicating well with your partner and just trying to maintain some bit of a balance, try not to let it get, but try not to let it get too, I guess, unequal. But back to what mom was saying, every day will look different, so just try to find balance in every single day. And I think we've come a long way from, previous generations, and but I still think there's more room to grow in that area. So just got to keep looking out for each other.
yeah, that's fantastic. So what change would you like to see as an Indian woman? And when it comes to gender roles, what do you think it's still lacking? Do you see anything
I
that's still lacking?
I think, I mean, we hit on it a little bit earlier, but I think just empowering women when it comes to career, it's not all about, what the guy brings home. Because
Yeah,
sometimes, the woman can bring just as much or even more these days. Like, it's not just the guy being the one bringing the most money. So I think just, and also having your partner encourage you when it comes to your career is a big thing. Um, yeah, I've heard some people, they don't like it when their partner, when the woman makes more than the man.
yeah,
But and that's a big thing, but I think you should be proud if
yeah.
the woman is
Yeah.
making more.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I know. And
To,
that is sorry, Vinny, were you
no, I
saying?
was just going to add to what Sanchi said. I said it shouldn't be how much, like if the woman needs to make more than the or the wife
Mhm.
needs to make more than the husband. It shouldn't have to be that way. I think if
Yeah.
you are happy in what you're doing, if you're satisfied in what you're doing, even if you're making less, but as long as you have a good career and you're happy and satisfied, I think that is
Yeah,
empowerment in
exactly.
itself. Yeah.
It should be
Mhm.
encouraged. It should be
Yeah.
Yeah.
encouraged, as long as
Exactly.
you like what you're doing, and you're satisfied, you're happy.
You're happy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
it should be encouraged, and then it's a balancing act.
yeah.
If the
Yeah.
But see, that's the
household
thing I
needs.
don't understand. Why do we need to get encouraged for our careers? We don't do that for men. We don't say, "Oh
No,
yeah,
it
yay,
should
good, you
be.
should be doing this. I'm so proud of you." Or yeah, I'll support you. We don't do this, right? So why is that being women? Why do we need that? We're
Because that's how it's
talking about
been.
equal, right?
Yeah,
So
that's how
we
it's
Listen,
don't need
always
that.
been.
no, it's not. When you, it's not true that men don't need encouragement. Okay,
Mm.
Very less
when
time that
when
we've
men are seeking a new job, or they're going through some new business, or they're going through some new career, who encourages them? Their wives. They're
Yeah.
supporting them. They're giving them advice whether to do certain things right or not, or so everybody needs encouragement. Everybody needs support in order to continue doing what they want to do. And without your partner's support, it's not like a woman needs pushing all the time, like, yeah, 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 you can do it, you can do it. No, that's
Yeah,
not what
that's
Yeah.
what I'm
encouragement
trying to
means.
say, that
Yeah,
that
no,
was
no,
my
no.
point.
No, women can do what they want to do. They don't need somebody telling them that,
Right.
yeah, you have to do it. But without your partner's support, it is much difficult to continue what you want to do.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So
And it goes, like you
that's
said, it
the
goes both
concept.
the ways. You have to have support.
Yeah.
You have to support each other no matter what. It
Yeah.
doesn't, otherwise
Yeah.
it doesn't work. So that is for sure. But I just wanted to make that a point that we're equal. So it's not like we always need
Mhm.
encouragement for our career. We can empower ourselves.
Hmm.
We are powerful.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure,
I'm
for
all about
sure.
that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's what it is. So I guess, and I hope our audiences loved our conversation, and we'll bring back another episode and another co-host with us. And Sachi, thank you so much for coming and joining us, and
Thank you.
we look forward for you to come again, and for another
Yes.
conversation, another topic. And thank you, ladies, for your time and your
Thank
input.
you.
And we will thank our audience for joining us, and subscribe and like and rate us 5 stars so we can bring you more episodes. And
Thank
this
you.
is closing for the Global Desi Women. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.